Conversations with Elders, hosted by yours truly, Louis-Virie Blanche, welcoming you to Glastonbury Radio 432, where we will be TED Talking in tongues with the elders of all ages, all generations, all races, cultures, and creeds. All gender, religious, or political preferences will be honored and encouraged on Glastonbury Radio 432, Conversations with Elders, where it is our treasured pleasure to roll out the red carpet of golden liquid love light to you in honor of the Queendom Come, soul dancing free to life's heartbeat drum, in honor of mother, daughter, sister, lover, priestess, goddess, friend, sharing the blessings of love's perfect stranger, Deja Vu, welcoming you to Glastonbury Radio 432.
It's too cosmic, much too cosmic for me. Much too cosmic.
We are going to talk about the breath within the breath, the vision within the vision.
Yeah, and
Heart,
like
the
physically
heartbeat within the heart.
Yeah,
And we're going to make our way to the imagination and into
yeah,
the essence of unity.
yeah. You know, if it's simply, if we look at it, sometimes we have a heartbeat, but then we can go a little deeper in our heart.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes we have a thought in our mind, but all of a sudden when really focused, we can go deeper within that thoughts.
Right.
So these faculties of the body, faculties of the heart, faculties of the mind, and faculty of the soul, then they be in synchronicity with each other. And that is what unified field is, to bring us to the state or condition or architecture of unity. Because
So is this pre-programmed into existence to return us home?
well, it is, because in all living things, if you look at for example, a seed, a drop of rain, it has to go back to its beloved ocean where it came from. Or let's say the trees, they all have that. So we have created a subculture and subconscious, which we are not obeying by those things because we came up with our own subcultures and subconscious
System.
and that's so what happens, once, if we are not in that synchronicity, there we are in a state of deafness. I mean, other faculties are going deaf. Only this faculty works, the physical. So, or become blind in our higher faculty.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are blinded and deafened in our other higher faculty, it has a dementational effect on the physical body. So people
What kind of effect?
Dementational effect.
Immantational effect.
Yeah. Let me see where I wrote some of that stuff. Yeah. So that is, these are things, we want to avoid. And then we wonder why we were not created to be sick or have psychological problem or divorce or separation, segregation, fragmentation. But all of a sudden, all those illnesses comes into our field and our flow becomes subject to that field. So we want to cleanse our field.
Detoxify.
Yeah.
And harmonize.
Yeah. We want to reach that the state of synchronicity.
Well, you're talking about the raindrop has a yearning to return home.
Yeah.
The soul, humans have a soul. We have an individual soul, which
Yes.
has a diversity where it's individual, yet it is part of a unified collective, right?
Yes.
But we hear this or feel this or sense this unspoken yearning. Don't we feel that in us?
Yes. That's why sometimes we ignore those because it's not just physical or materialistic. we don't go to our higher self or divine self or the phi self.
The phi self. So you know those three forms of dietary intake are emotional, physical, and what's the third one?
Mental.
Mental.
And we have cellular diet, like we feed. So all of these, we need nutrition for all that. So it's not just this physical body. If you become physical, then all of a sudden we have so-called logical problem. Like people, the mental problem is becoming more, and people, they have to go to what? To dementational state, dementational effect. So what do? They go to drugs because I cannot take it anymore. This physical is so empty. Then I have to take something, drugs or alcohol or whatever, to get into dementational effect and dementational state, so I feel comfortable.
But that's a stimulus that's we're inputting a stimulus, and the output from that stimulus is what dependency, and you never quite satisfy the yearning that way, do you?
Yeah.
You
Otherwise,
still have the yearning. You kind of deaden the symptom.
Yes.
So like you wipe it. You can't handle it, so you wipe it out of your thinking.
You're suppressing it.
What about surrendering? Oh, come on, relax.
So what happens, if you look at Creator didn't create us to be ill. He created us all conditions for us to be healthy and happy.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened? I create myself, my own illnesses, my own unhappiness by dementational effect.
So those three intakes, say your emotional, your mental, and your physical intake, right?
Yes.
If your mental intake is a lot of fear and jealousy and anger and aggression, we talked about this before, you're not assimilating it. You just keep feeding that lack of nutrition to yourself.
Yes.
And you feel worse and worse, and you need a drink or a smoke to feel better. But the drink goes away and you feel bad still.
Then we have hangover. Because hangover, if you look at, if you want, we can bring this. I have a whole presentation of what is hangover. It's when all of a sudden we have a dementational effect. Nothing repairs or renews when we go to sleep, because the function of a sleep is to renew and repair. And then after 12 hours of sleep, we get up, we have headache and physical.
You're dehydrated.
And what hangover means, it means nothing got repaired and nothing got renewed. So what happened if these negative emotions are not assimilative? That means it feel and flow. It becomes accumulative. So it becomes first chronic, then it becomes acute, and then over time I have a trauma.
So the body accumulates, and it's fat. It's extra body weight. And the mental, you're carrying extra baggage, emotional baggage, and it's trauma. But there will be no emotional baggage allowed on this flight. There's some flights that we need to get on where we can't take that baggage, right?
The thing is, the bigger that baggage is, the larger, heavier, it's harder to move.
Yes.
And then, what happens, all of a sudden we have mental overweight, emotional overweight, cellular overweight, and we become couch potato. Our soul cannot move. Our mind cannot have imagination. Our emotion cannot be very flowing. And physically, we are sick. We are couch potato. We sit and watch TV.
We keep interrupting the regulatory function and flow that's natural and given to us by God, but we keep interfering with it.
Yeah. Because what happens, original religions in its original language,
Mm-hmm.
revelation, not literalism. There's a difference between um, revelation and literalism. Unfortunately, all
Revelation.
that means original language that was revealed to that prophet, to IBM, Isa, Ben Maryam, to Moses, to Jesus, or if it's been altered and corrupted by literalism, it's not the original. So all these religion, if you look at it, was nothing but a doctor prescription. You go to a doctor, and then he gives you a prescription. So you have to go by that. That prescription is for me, not for the doctor. So what happened? Just if I don't follow that prescription, I won't have any healing. I'm talking about organic medicine, green medicine, not pharmaceutical.
Yes.
Because all those things that has been placed on earth is prescription. So I can refuse that prescription, and then I won't get healed. I have emotional issues, I have mental issues, I have cellular issues, and then when those other higher uh, attributes of existence are uncomfortable, I will be physically, all kind of diseases comes to my mind. And one person, I can maybe mention to you is Bruno Groening, that I mentioned to you.
Yes, very phenomenal person.
How he was able to get people heal themselves. He got them to that state of mind. Rumi did that too. Avicenna did that too. Johannes Wolfgang Goethe was able to do that.
But love was a very important part of the process.
Yes. Well, love is process, procedure, and practice of immotation.
Reverent,
So,
reverent immotation, right? Reverence for, respect and appreciation.
Yeah. And it's
So
that's why we have polarity. If I don't, it's polarity that was designed to reach us to unity. And that, if I deny that, I would deprive myself from sense and field and flow of unity, unified field. And I'll be very lonely and distressed.
Now, if you're lonely and at peace with being alone, you haven't accumulated any fear or worry, so you're at peace. You're in maybe the desert or wherever in the mountains, and you're by yourself, but you're not really alone because you have a relationship with the world around you.
Exactly. Because it says, when I am alone, when I'm not with anybody, I'm not alone.
Well, you talked about revelation. Revelation seems to imply that there is, like you spoke about, the breath within the breath, the vision within the vision, the heartbeat within the heartbeat, to get to this mind within the mind, to have a vision.
Yeah.
A vision, and that we touch our source of imagination within us.
Now, just imagine if my immotation, my heart, was linear, it would not fractallate. So when something fractallates, it goes within itself deeper, 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 and it opens and goes out and out. That's the peristalsis part of it. So you notice that heartbeat, if I bring it into the nature of fractallation, that means in a spiral, a vortation, and then peristalsis and rotation. Then you feel heart within heart within heart, and it goes indefinitely. And you go deeper and deeper and deeper. Otherwise, I'll be a superficial love. And if you have a lot of money, I fall in love with you and I follow you.
I'm looking for a rich spirit and a golden heart.
Well, we talked about, I know
someone that practices the golden rule.
I know people so poor so poor and miserable that all they have is money.
Well, that yearning of the soul to return home,
Yes.
when we get a nice, healthy night's sleep
Yeah.
and we rejuvenate, and in that process, we're dreaming.
Yeah. See, whether we like it or not, that's the process, procedure, and practice of creation. Whether if it's me or you or a tree or things, they all have a certain appointed probationary period. So might as well we do very well in order, to have better saving for the next stage. Otherwise, we don't want to go next life, bankrupt. And then a lot of taxes. That's why this body that our soul has occupied is a rental property. Am I going to be a am I
You
going
have
to
a
be a
long-term
good
lease?
am I going to be a good occupant, or I'm
Steward,
going to trash it?
take
Trash
care of this
the
property.
soul.
It's not yours. You're just renting it.
Yeah, it's the rental property. So am I going to trash my soul, trash my mind, trash my heart, or I want to have it in the divine unified field so I can rise?
Now, I was thinking about the word menopause because
Yes.
you said there's no probationary period.
Yeah. Well,
What is it about the centurions? What is it, centurions?
Centurions, yeah. The people who live to be centurions are about 7-8 cultures around the world
Mm-hmm.
that they live to be over 100. Because if you look at the creation again, there is a longevity and then there is a maturity. Usually, if you look at maturity of, let's say, a rabbit, it matures at 1, lives to be 7. A dog matures at 2, and it lives to be maybe 14 average. And a horse at 3, and it lives to be 21. Human about 19. So the longevity projected or given by the process of process, procedure, and practice of creation for human, for this species, is 7 times 19 is 133.
So that's 7 times the maturity of
yeah. That is, I have a whole list of them, all animals. If you check, you see the longevity is projected to be 7 times, unless they are under influences of fragmentation, or fragmental field.
But we have to love ourselves and be caring for all that the essence of creation.
Yes, I mean, all we have to do,
respect ourselves.
Monkey see, monkey do. There's no, like, we talked about it, it's very illogical if you tell that you can multiply when you divide.
Right, divide and multiply.
Yeah, you see, the seed does that in order that the tree gives its fruit, because the trees in the orchard give, they give so they may live. For to withhold is to perish. When he can't give the fruit, the tree goes to this, perishes.
And humans have heard about giving to receive.
Yeah.
But not giving only to receive, but giving freely, joyfully, peacefully, sharing the unity of the grace of creation with one another.
Yes.
And we blossom.
Because everything in the universe, thermodynamics, they notice everything is comes to us and it goes out of us. So I'm in a transitional field. That means comes to you and you have to get rid of it. If it comes to me and it becomes accumulative, then it causes problem for me. Whether if it's money or whether it's fame or whether it's whatever it is, because it becomes accumulative. Accumulation of anything, it's not very healthy. Things has to be always assimilative and digested and processed and procedured.
So to buy more, to keep consuming, to have more and more and never quite find satisfaction. And eventually, you know, the people that have a lot of money, they end up wanting to have an old car and go live someplace in a little cabin. And, you know, some people realize that all that stuff is not giving them any richness within themselves.
Yeah, it doesn't give any growth, material gain, which is only physical. It doesn't give me any growth in my mental, emotional, my heart, my mind, my soul. It doesn't give me any, because actually it kind of, you know, it takes me away from those things, because it takes my attention to a different subculture, to a different materialistic subconscious. Because
So the soul's yearning to return home. There are a lot of people that believe that the soul makes a choice to return to incarnation.
Yeah.
And there is some schools of thought that say the soul chooses the parents.
Yeah. And I do not adhere to incarnation or decarnation or reincarnation, because everything is continuous progress. It's an eternal life. Now, what happened is I do not incarnate myself, and I do not decarnate yourself. So if I don't have any decision making in those, then how can I reincarnate myself again? So reincarnation is contrary to, it's based on karma for the same process. Karma is accumulation.
Accumulation, yeah.
Because there is no forgiveness and repentance to wipe something out. So eye for eye, as Gandhi said, eye for eye makes the whole world blind. It's because of that equivocation. So I do not adhere with some of the ideas of Vedic, because it's an old version of Newtonian paradigm. It's based on equivocation, that equal sign.
So is there a word, if it's not incarnation, decarnation, and reincarnation, is there a word that, have you coined a word to describe the journey of the soul?
Divine creation. And divine creation is by creator. And then, you know, whenever it has to change to a we get it, what happens, we don't go to reincarnation or decarnation, we go to transnaturization. Naturalization. The nature of our existence. From this body cloak, it becomes to a different, maybe a cloak which is a light, or it's more likely. So the life is pretty much eternal.
Yeah, I like to say we are soul time eternals.
Yeah. So we go, and for example, if you look at when you and I were in the womb, or when we are within a drop of sperm, it was very confined. But all of a sudden, the next stage you come in, due to immutation and polarity, okay, it becomes a womb. It's much bigger now.
Mm-hmm.
But then you stay for a period of time in the womb, and all of a sudden you're born and you see, oh wow. Yeah.
So it's pretty expansive out here.
Now, rotation, and peristalsis is in process here, and procedure. All of a sudden, from the next one, from this womb or confined from this physical womb, we are born into a more divine womb. All of a sudden, everything becomes more expansive, because everything, God is so forgiving, and it's so blessing, that constantly has provided a field which is constantly expanding, from a drop to a womb, from a womb to this world, from this world to the next world. So these are all process of transnaturization. our nature changes by expansion if you're in that path.
So the process of people feeling empty and perhaps alone and separate from others, we have a lot of that going around right now.
Yeah.
In fact, I talked to my friends in Germany and Italy a few days ago, and their lockdown is very, very intense right now. They only go out for shopping. They can't really go anywhere, and they can't visit people. They have to really isolate and stay put.
Yeah.
Now, for some people, that's going to be very, very stressful and cause
Yes.
a lot of negative emotion.
Yes.
But for those that seem to have understandings that we're speaking of, they can assimilate this time without accumulating fear and anger and
Mm.
without feeling encaged and enslaved, being made to do something by someone that they don't know and don't like. But if they can see forgiveness and repentance in those that they blame for everything,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
a lot of healing could happen.
Absolutely. You know what happened? Let's put it this way. We created a velocity of culture, velocity of subconscious, that my computer has to be constantly faster and faster and faster. My car has to be faster and faster. You know, these velocity of subconscious and subculture we created is way beyond the velocity of nature.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is this is probably a little um, probationary period that we slow down and we have time to think. We
Yes.
have time for the heart to go within the heart. We have
Mm-hmm.
time to go mind to go within the mind. We have to look at it in a positive way. Our soul, time, to discover our soul. And,
Yes.
we realize that deeper in our sight, there is an imagination. Within our imagination, there is a higher thing, which is a vision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that vision is bringing us to cause and effect of the polarity that causes the unity, induces, evokes unity. And that's what we are here for. Unity with. So a really perfect marriage is when husband and wife help each other to realize this and go toward the beloved together on the same trail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then there won't be any divorce and all that stuff that we've been suffering.
Yes. My friends Cyril Neville and Gaynell Neville, they are from the musical family in New Orleans, the Neville brothers, the Neville family, one of
Yes.
the big musical families. They just had their 43rd anniversary.
Oh, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I wrote them, they're practicing the procedures that we're speaking of. This is something that's alive in their lives. Their children and their extended family, all their family members, there's a lot of unity amongst them.
Yeah. See, the nature of polarity is unity. Look at animals, look at the trees, look at everything. The nature of the duality is fragmentation. All of a
Yes.
sudden competition. Like a wife thinks, I know more than you, or you know more than me, there is no competition here.
Well, the sportsmanship, doing something to do your best, but not to outdo the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. See, if I have to win, this top trophy at the top, I have to go through the process of elimination. I have to eliminate a lot of people on the way before I get behind the podium and say, hey, I won. I'm in the first place, But every place is a divine. You try your best. The 4 agreements.
Yes. And if you can't, if you don't achieve it, try again.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because what happens, every person has a different attribute that can be perfected based on their passion. And when they do, that person becomes so unique that there is no one like them. And that's what complementation is. It was created, all these trees in the forest, you notice they all grow toward their own perfection,
Mm-hmm.
and they all live together in peace. The forest is a very peaceful place to go.
Yes.
When you go to a baseball, a football game, everybody's distressed if they're gonna lose.
A lot of chaotic energy going on.
Yeah. Or worse than that, worse than sport, politics. You see how much stress it has been created because it's the politics of duality,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not polarity.
Yeah, there's a lot. Today is January 5th. There's a lot going on today and tomorrow, and these next few weeks of January. There's a lot. You can sense the duality and separateness causing tension and stress in a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Uh, I had something written. I got a little late, otherwise I wrote something here that I was gonna discuss, because when selfism, it leads to centrism. That means esoteric. When I'm esoteric, I need walls, right? I need duality. All those things, that we talked about. I need. I don't need bridges. I need walls. I need duality. I need. What was that third one? I forgot. Um, mm, uh,
Bridges,
not walls.
not walls.
Polarity, not duality, and then
Boundaries, not borders.
yes, yeah. All of a sudden, when I'm esoteric, I definitely need my borders, and that borders become my constitution, because I am governed by constitution and condition. Either within that esoteric circle, there is a condition. I have to be by that condition. That becomes
Sounds
self.
like sounds like you might be afraid of something.
Yeah, yeah, I'm in the circle because I have to live by condition of the constitution of, and the border of that esotericism, it becomes the walls. And if I go to the next circle, all of a sudden this circle, they get mad at me. So that's why the whole things of esotericism versus exotericism, and also centrism and selfism, is nothing other than quantum of narcissism. Because all of a sudden, I am right and everybody else is wrong.
Now, insolence. You spoke
Insolent,
about that leading to narcissism.
yes. Versus excellence, that takes you higher. See,
Expands.
X, esoteric, exoteric, insolence, excellence. You see that? You are
Yes.
either go within or you go without.
Yes.
Now,
So
if
the
you
breath. Go ahead.
if we liberate ourselves from that esotericism, that means bring the walls down and build bridges, and destroy the border and create boundary. What is boundary? My respect for you, your respect for me, you respect for each other. That's boundary.
We respect each other's boundaries.
Yeah.
And we
Because that's what,
learn to even respect how different we are.
yeah. But what happens, if you look at all religions came to teach us about, it was a prescription for boundary. It's not to insult somebody, not to be jealous of somebody, not to be greedy with somebody. All religions, came, to teach us its prescription. The doctors send a prescription for boundary. The divine doctor.
Honor these boundaries.
Yeah. And then then you build bridges because you're trying to reach to each other, not the walls. That's why then we respect polarity. You're emoted to a woman and a woman to a man, and then that becomes expansive. Within two people divide themselves, and all of a sudden they multiply with children.
Divide and multiply.
Yeah, the woman divide himself to multiply, and that's why after it has that baby, he's so much in joy. I
Yes.
mean, um, they are very protective. Animals are protective of their babies. Everything. They are very protective. There is some sense in there that causes that.
And they lay their rainbow hands on their belly.
Yeah, yeah,
So the womb of creation serves us. And even though we come out into the world, we leave that womb, we
yeah,
can look around and see where we're living is also like a womb of creation, is it not?
yeah.
Because it's feeding us the
Yeah,
apple trees, the blueberry bushes, everything
yeah.
is nurturing, giving, and loving us. If
It's
we
the same
respected
thing.
it
Yeah,
back and
yeah.
gave
Same thing.
reverence to it.
Yeah, exactly same thing as you were in the mother's womb. There was provision, your food was being served to you.
Yes,
In
yes.
this one, the food is being served, the trees and all that there. So that's why the mother divides itself to multiply. The seed divides itself to multiply. That's the only cause and effect.
So why
Because
why would
they
humans
divide it.
why would humans not see how loving our Mother Earth, just the way we love our mothers, is the way to live? Respect
Yeah,
her, respect nature, respect the ways of nature. That's our mother.
yeah,
It's gives to us and gives to us and
yeah,
gives to us.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
think we can
And
do it
that's why.
better, but we start causing problems. And we've gotten to a point where people are, I think, hopefully people are realizing there is a different way. And this paradigm, like the book is a paradigm of duality,
Polarity.
your paradigm of polarity,
Yes. Because
becoming
everything is male and female. It's not positive and negative. I mean, if you tell a woman I'm positive and you're negative, they slapped you across the head. Yeah,
and she'll want you
there's
to
nothing.
repent so she can forgive you.
Yeah, what happened? The best thing, there's the joy of having is in dividing. That's why the mother, when it divides itself to herself and baby, there is so much joy because that affection between mother and child is comparable to anything else. With her whole life, she protects the animal the same way. With her whole life, that deer or whatever protects their offspring. Because there's so much joy when they give to something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the joy of giving.
It's like you're visiting a country or a community, and they're inviting you in to break bread with them. Come in and eat and have a drink.
Yeah,
The people that are very giving and sharing, it's a wonderful experience to go to a foreign country, and the people are giving like that, and they invite you in, and
yes,
even if they have a little, they divide it.
yeah, yeah.
It's uplifting.
If you have If you have it uncalled guests showing up and you're having a soup, add some water to the soup.
Yes.
my grandmother used to say that all the time. Yeah.
So the breath within the breath.
Sometimes you can sense that when all of a sudden you take a deep breath. It gives you a little relief.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep breath. It's breath within breath. It's not a physical breath, it's the breath of mind, breath of heart, and breath of soul.
And that breath can feed the soul of our imagination.
Now, if I take a breath and instead of oxygen, I take some toxic gases. Just imagine I take a breath with my heart and it's jealousy, and it's greed, and it's aggression, and it's walls, not bridge, within that breath, or it's polarity, not duality, and the border, not boundary. Can you imagine that breath? How much it's going to damage me? Because it's like I took a breath of toxic gas, carbon dioxide or something. It kills me. But it could be a gradual killing. It may not kill me instantly. Sometimes it kills instantly, but sometimes we go into gradual deterioration. And then we won't live our proposed longevity 7 times maturity, like the centurions do. Centurion, they live to be 100, 120, 130. Still, the old man in Hansa is still, Titicaca in South America, they're still shuffling. But here,
on the couch,
the
sitting in the chair with the remote control.
Yeah. Here I'm 60. I have accumulative emotion, accumulative mentality, accumulative cellular, accumulative body and everything. And I'm enjoying I'm enjoying myself on the couch and watching TV. And then, I'm so miserable that I have to watch something which is very miserable show, a soap opera. Because misery loves misery.
But you're not alone, because chances are your doctor is giving you lots of pills. You've got them in a big on your desk next to you. Your friends are all these stimulus, these pills they gave me.
Because I have totally disregarded my autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system in a regulatory function, it is speed up sometimes and it slows up other parts of the body. For example, when you eat, the digestion will speed up and the rest of the body just slows down. So it's kind of autonomic nervous system is the energy management, synergy management of the body. Here, I have totally disregarded my autonomic nervous system because I'm on drug or alcohol or something or pharmaceutical. Constantly, when I want to be stimulated, I have to take something. I want to de-stimulate, I have to take something. So eventually, what it's called is called iatrogenic diseases. All synthetic supplements or synthetic drugs, they have iatrogenic diseases. That what it means. It heals something, but you may have about 5 other complications, 6 other complications, or many other complications. Iatrogenic diseases is very predominant right now because I have overwritten my autonomic nervous system. My sympathetic and parasympathetic does not work. So I have to take what? The stimulus for this stimulus.
And if it's working properly, the autonomic nervous system allows the parasympathetic system to take its turn in the right in the right function. Yeah,
these two autonomic nervous system is trying to manage your energy. So let's say when you jog, for example, you go to the sympathetic and certain parts of the body has to go parasympathetic. And that's why sometimes after a big jog or a physical work, all of a sudden the body takes you back to parasympathetic because you need a nap. Because you're tired. Yeah.
But if you live in many places in Europe or South America, you eat, you take siesta.
Yeah.
3 hours during the day, no rush, no problem. Eat slow, talk, enjoy, take a long nap.
But in the fast culture, if you do that, then you get fired.
Yeah, I got to drive through this drive-in. I'll take 2 burgers and an order of fries, and I'll eat them while I'm driving and get back to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And have some coffee because I didn't sleep very good.
The speed of function, the velocity of function, it has to be very subordinate and servicing autonomic nervous system. If I'm overriding it, I will get sick sooner or later.
Mhm.
It's almost like gradual suicide. I can kill myself instantly, or I can kill myself over a period of time. There is no difference, except I killed myself over 10 years, or I killed myself in 10 minutes.
But
Yeah,
rejuvenating, we rejuvenate ourselves. We have the opportunity to rejuvenate.
yes, yes.
And, I was talking to a friend, a musical engineer in Germany. He's been having a lot of challenges with his pancreas. He was in the hospital right around Christmas time. Last year, he couldn't use his hands and his arms. I think he's got a type of psoriasis. But he also had a challenge where for a while, he lost his hearing.
Yeah,
Now his hearing returned, and he's a very big man right now. He had a motorcycle accident, so he can't be as physical as he used to be,
yeah.
and he pretty much is in a wheelchair. But we were talking before about the cayenne and
Cayenne
the
pepper,
MSM.
MSM, yeah. And see, one person, he can maybe follow up. There is a good book. It's called by Dr. Ron Lawrence. He was the head of the medical school at UCLA. And the very famous person, James Coburn, he used to play those Flint movies.
Yeah, the actor. Yes.
Yeah, he was a black belt and a big shot.
Yes.
So what happened? He ended up in wheelchair. Now, drinking water, which has a lot of TDS, total dissolved solid, and it's not distilled with a little salt, and lack of MSM, all that stuff will contribute. Now, people who are very acidic, they have ammonia. Ammonia causes, uric acid. Uric acid sometimes crystallizes around the joints. When it crystallizes, all of a sudden the joints, cannot move. So all of a sudden, so it could be a lot of, but it's a lifestyle. So there has
Yes.
to be a drastic lifestyle. Now, James Coburn was in wheelchair, but after Ron Lawrence worked with him, he got up and he was walking and doing normal things. And the story is written in a book called Miracles of MSM by Dr. Ron Lawrence.
Miracles of MSM by Dr. Ron Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
Now, the gentleman in Oregon that did a lot of great work with diabetes and the pancreas, who was that?
well, Dr. Robert Hirschler, he was at OSU, and then Stanley Jacob, he was a surgeon at Oregon State Health Hospital or Center in Portland. All of these people, they worked with MSM because MSM is the third largest ingredient in all living things. If you look at, for example, some of the animals, if they lacking that because they're in the stable or something like that, they chew the wooden fences. Or if I've seen the deers, here,
Mhm.
they go and chew the little bit bark of the trees. Because if they don't, they get very itchy. They get very uncomfortable and they can't move. So they go and eat the bark of the tree because the real pure MSM comes from the lignins of the trees. So that was the work of Dr. Robert Hirschler.
Is he still with us? Is he still?
No, I mean, these people mostly have transnaturized.
But the hospital in Oregon, didn't you have a number for the hospital that they worked out of?
It's Portland, Oregon State Health Center,
Mm-hmm.
which is outside Portland. I've been to it, but I don't remember exactly. I know it's east of Highway 5, somewhere back there. It's one of the biggest health center in America.
Are they carrying on the work of these two gentlemen?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. So it's Oregon State University Hospital.
Oregon State Health Center.
Oregon State Health Center.
Yeah. And then there's other people, that they have worked, on different issues, but some of them they work in Sayulita.
Yeah, Sayulita, Mexico. Very, very like a magnet for very interestingly innovative health people.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, and we can't, rife machines are not allowed in the United States,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But in Europe, there's no problem.
Yeah, and they have it in Europe. Actually, they have. I trained some people in Sayulita. I forgot her name. You know, it's just when I was in Santa Cruz. The Sayulita, they have these equivalents. So if somebody needs to go, they can go there.
You know, I spent a lot of time in Sayulita. You know, and you told me before that the distance from pole to
Sayulita,
pole.
yeah. You know, Sayulita, you know, actually you can do this on Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and do it for yourself, you know, but there's a lot of YouTube about that. If you go on the latitude of 21.42 and you take Google Earth has something you can measure. You put 1 point here and you put 1 point on the North Pole, and then you take here and then you put it on the South Pole, and you divide it by each other, it becomes perfect 5. And that happened to Prophet Abraham with his wife Hajar when they were in Saudi Arabia, and the biggest meteor hit there. This rock, which is the biggest income, and that rock hit right pinpointed on the phi ratio. So you go from the center of that rock to the north, and center of the to the south is perfect phi. And there is a lot of YouTubes about that if you want to look at it. And then they know his wife, if they were in desert, and his wife was thirsty. The baby, you know, which was Ishmael, was thirsty. So he was praying to God, you know, what am I going to do? I'm about to lose my wife and my kid. So he said, put your staff, and there will be a spring. And this spring will flow forever. And that spring since then, which is about 35 and some over 3,000 years, the water has not been a drop less or more. And it's called the water of Zamzam. Dr. Emoto from Japan,
Mm-hmm.
he did a lot of work and he found it was the most healing water in the world.
It's called the water of
Zamzam.
Zamzam.
Yeah.
And where is that located?
It's in Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia.
I have a bottle of it.
Uh-huh. So is that available? Someone brought that to you, or when you there, you got some?
Yeah, somebody brought it to me. My son went there, you know, and brought it to me. And my wife and my son went there, you know, and they brought it.
Well, you know, the water, 80% of our bodies is composed of water.
Yes, 75% of the body is water, 85% of the brain, and 94% of our blood, and 98% of our nervous system is water. So this puts a lot of importance on the water. This water has to be good. It has to be very low TDS. These nervous system, which is about 100,000 miles in our body, average. It's almost 4 times around the earth. They are garden hoses. They're tiny, they come microtubulous. And inside these, it's not like a wire, it's like a hose. Water drips one at a time with each pulse. So if this water has a high TDS, it's not distilled, then what happens, it clogs these nerves. That's why all of a sudden we have multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, you know, or the myelin sheath is being. So there is one issue is the water. The other one is if the person has been exposed to Leishman or toxoplasmosis that eats the myelin sheath around this wire, so they touch each other. That's why, you know, just older people sometimes, you know, their hands or some part of their body shakes and all that, because it's like wires are touching.
But the cayenne, the
MSM, what it does, MSM has sulfur in it. It helps, you know, the recovery of myelin sheath.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's the flexible bonding between the joints. So now if I don't have an MSM, you see older people, their knuckles cracks and things like that, or their
Mm-hmm.
heels. Now, if I don't have that, these two cells are stuck together like this. So if they try to go peristalsis, it causes rupture. If it's heart, it's bleeding and heart attack. Now, MSM is like a flexible hinge. Then these two cells are renewed a little bit farther away. So this flexible bonding here, this two cell can move, go to
Mm-hmm.
peristalsis,
Mm-hmm.
expand, contract, expand, contract. Okay. So what, and then this between the cells, there's an opening. The water can flow between them and take the toxin out. Otherwise, we get cellular swamp because water cannot flow.
You've accumulated all those
Yeah,
toxins.
yeah. And
So
then
how much MSM and cayenne is good to take daily for a
usually
person?
it's about 30 milligrams per pound. So like let's say um, if a person is about 120 pounds, like me, for example, I need about 4,000 milligrams. 1,000 milligram per 30 pounds of weight. So dosage for me is about 4,000 milligrams, which is almost like a little, not heaping teaspoon, a teaspoon.
A teaspoon.
Yeah,
Teaspoon daily of MSM,
yeah,
teaspoon of cayenne,
yeah.
and your water, like when you wake up in the morning, you have water with lemon and a little bit of
Yeah,
Himalayan
yeah,
salt.
yeah, yes. And you notice there's another thing is if you look some of the health food store, they have activated charcoal.
Activated charcoal.
Yeah, that's why, if you have a small teaspoon of charcoal per day, that's very good. I mean, I usually put it in my yogurt. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my yogurt is black because because that's very cleansing. I mean, tons of people do. Just when they used to drink, I make it for my plants and I
Mm-hmm.
give it to my plants. So all the wood left over, I make it into biochar. Now biochar, it also there is an issue. We can talk about it sometimes. Uh, Carbon can donate electron even to platinum, which is there is a table of electron donation. So therefore, a carbon goes in the body, and if I have any toxicity, it donates electron and it grabs it and brings it out. So that's why carbon is very good, for detoxification too.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to pass this information on to my friend, and perhaps he likes to Skype. I would like to see if I can get you guys to
Yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah. I
because
mean, if he changes his diet, he would see a lot of improvement. If he's overweight, now with diabetes, there's a doctor, I forgot his name is James Wong, I think. He used to teach at the Stanford. He has been the most successful person when it comes to diabetes. Number one or number two. There's an emotional and mental association with that like we talked some time ago. And it's worry. If he's worried, am I going to have enough money? Am I going to have this? Am I going to have that? It's all about having.
mm-hmm.
It affects the pancreas and the spleen.
So James Wong.
I have to look it up. I think his last name is Wong, but I forgot. Dr. Wong. And he figured out fasting. There's nothing that recovers diabetes number one and diabetes number two with fasting. That's why all religions have prescribed fasting.
Mm-hmm.
You
My
notice,
mother would fast every week. Once a week, she did a fast.
yeah, but it has to go synchronized with magnetic peristalsis of the earth because your body is resonating and it's synchronicity with that. And that kind of fasting, he has been able to recover diabetes patients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why, as I said, every religion has anywhere from 30. I fast about 60 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I synchronize it with magnetic peristalsis, which is high tide and low tide, high tide and low tide.
Well, that's it for here and now. But until we meet again, this has been Louis-Virie Blanche thanking you for listening to Conversations with Elders on Glastonbury Radio 432. Bless you.
Quantum physics in the kitchen sink, the energy that follows the thoughts you think. Quantum physics and the cosmic sea, laws of nature too heavy for me. It's too cosmic, much too cosmic for me. Much too